I waited all day, never got a response from him. I finished the weekend with my sister's birthday activities, and that following Monday morning, I went to the police station. I filed a police report, and they told me that a detective would be reaching out to me in a couple days. They also recommended me to go to the hospital right when I left from there, and I did. A couple days went by, and the detective did call. We scheduled a time to meet up and talk that following week, and he had said if I hadn't washed the clothes yet, that I should bring them so he could send them off to be tested. I waited patiently for the day to come to go speak with him, and when it did, I tell him everything that happened and showed him everything that I had, and he says that it's basically still my story versus his. He said that still an investigation would be conducted and that my clothes would still be sent off to get tested. He said that he would reach back with me and stay in touch and keep me updated on everything. The next week after speaking with him, he calls me and he says, "Oh, I spoke with Mr. Million and I can assure you that he's not in this area anymore." And I said, "What's that supposed to mean?" He said basically that he asked if he was still in the area. He said that he wasn't and that he basically told him to not come around in the area anymore. I say, "Is that it? Is that the end of the investigation? What about my clothes getting tested?" And he says that it could take from 3 days to 3 weeks to 3 years for clothes to get tested. So after my clothes got tested, then that's when they can determine the end of the investigation. He's like, "Of course, though, in the midst of all that, if you have any questions, then just feel free to call me." And when we got off the phone, I was just so irritated. A week had went by, and one morning when I had woke up, I had just felt so uneasy and like he had just needed to be accountable for what he did. I got on Google, I Googled his name again, and when I seen any name and any number that was associated to and with him, I called it. It was a list of different names and different people, but they all had the same last name. So, of course, I'm thinking that they're all relatives. So I'm calling this number, that number, this number, that number. Then I finally get a number that I had called. Somebody picked up. When she answered the phone, I was like, "Hello, is this so-and-so? And are you related to Mr. Million?" And she was like, "Yes, this is her. And that's my grandson. What has he done? What did he do?" And I said, "Well, he told me that his name was this and that basically he owes me money." She was like, "Oh, Lord, oh, my goodness. I knew something was going on with him. I didn't have a good feeling when he came over here the other day. Da-da-da this, da-da-da that." She kept saying how she didn't have a good feeling about something that was going on with him. I had told her about all the money that I had spent, including the food, feeding him. And she said when he came over there, he had asked her to buy him some food as well. But she told him that she didn't have it. And I said to her, I wish I would have told him the same. I was asking if his behavior was normal, if he always goes through that with females. Is that who he really is? And she was saying how he had struggled with females in the past, but she was saying how he just wasn't that type of guy, and she basically raised him better than that. I asked her about this mysterious BMW truck. She said that he didn't have that. Asked her about all this money that he supposedly should have. She said that he didn't have that. She was saying how she didn't have any money to give me, but how she was for sure going to ask and tell him to pay me back. Before I could even get halfway through with telling her everything, she stopped me and was like, "Oh, my Lord, I just feel so sorry for you. I feel so bad for you. Can we please pray? I'm so sorry this happened to you. I cannot believe him. He knows better. I raised him better than that." She goes into prayer.
Hey cousins, welcome back to my channel. Make sure you like and comment. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't done so already. Make sure your notification bell is on so you're notified every single time I post. As you can see, we have part 8 of this crazy FB dating story. This is the first time she has posted since the last video, part 7, that I put out. So just bear with me. I know it's dragging. I thought she would have been done with this story before the new year, but let's get into it. We have a lot to unpack. It's not really much that she had to say, but it's very vital for the situation. And she is still not done. So it's going to be another part after this. Now, cousins, the fact that the first thought that came to the grandmother's mind was that he did something, just let you know that he is that type. Is probably a lot that she had to deal with him when it comes to other women, or him stealing, or him getting into stuff that he's not supposed to. Because why would that be her first thought of her saying, "Oh my God, what did he do?" Like, what?
I'm crying, been crying. She's praying. She finishes, and when she does, she's telling me how everything's going to be okay. I said, well, I wasn't in any trouble with him, and I feel like this entire situation is insane because of how good of a person I was and that I did not deserve to be treated like that. And she agreed. saying to me how she's done some of the same things that I've done before and that she's had her fair share of struggles with men in the past, but after so many, she says she changed her life around. After going back and forth, she was telling me how she couldn't talk much longer because she was on her way to church and it just happened to be Sunday. And she was saying how she was going to reach out to him, talk to him, tell him to pay me back, and that she would be reaching back out to me. She said she was going to call me back later on that night, but she never did. I waited to hear back from her, and after 2 days, I texted her. I sent her screenshots of the messages of him saying that he was going to pay me back. I told her what was going on again. I said to her that even if he doesn't have the money to pay me back, that he could just give me some of the items back. Like, I'm just trying to work everything out just so that I can still try to get some of my money back. Said to her, I'm sorry and I wasn't trying to bother, but if she could just try to help me if she could with him, because if she had raised him, then I figured that she was somebody that could try to get to him and get him to understand that what he did wasn't right and he should do the right thing. I'm telling her that I have rent to pay, that I'm really in need of this money, the situation's forever going to haunt me, that I'm mentally not okay. She never responded. I had found it so odd because she was just on the phone sympathizing with me and praying for me, but now she's not responding to me. Now I'm trying to give her the benefit of the doubt, and I'm like, she's going to respond to me eventually. I'm just going to wait. She had never responded to me, and that next morning when I woke up, I was just in my head and in my thoughts. So I went and made a fake page. No, it was not the right thing to do, but I did it. I made the page on Instagram, and when I tried to search him, I couldn't find him. I had forgot that he had blocked me on my main account, and that Instagram now has the option to where if someone blocks you, they block all the future accounts that you make as well. I remember that I still had the screen recording from his stories showing someone tagging him in a song that they had did on Apple Music. So I went to that person's page and I started commenting on his pictures. I was commenting how he owes people money and how he's done created a debt and try to run off on me, how he's targeting certain type of women. I was just making all different types of comments. I didn't know whether or not if they were artists together, if that was his managers or whatever, whoever. I was just saying, tell your artist to pay up his debts. I also said, if you're a single mother or someone with kids, to stay away from him and be aware of him. After an hour or so, dude DMs me and he's like, what's going on? What's these comments about? And so I gave him a brief rundown of what had happened. And he was saying to me how he was going to try to help me get my money back and to send him my number. I sent him the text free app number that I had, and he tried to call me, but I didn't answer because I was with family. And so I text him and I'm like, hey, what's up? And he's like, who are you? And when did this happen? And then he's like, Mr. Million wants to speak with you. And I said to him, I don't want to speak with him unless he's only talking about paying me back. I've already been too nice, and all I have to talk about now is getting my money back.
The fact that she really thinks that she's going to get her money back at this point of telling the story is mind-boggling to me, because the grandma already told you that he doesn't have the Mercedes truck that he claimed to have that was wrapped. He doesn't have no money. So you can already tell he's a scammer. Like, I don't understand why she's not getting it. And I get it. Girl, you need the money. You got to pay your bills. Things are stacking up and you just can't believe that you're in this situation. But you put yourself in this situation. Let's be honest here. I do not understand why this is hard for her to understand that she is not getting her money back. Even if she takes him to court tomorrow, and Judge Judy or whoever she takes him to court, Judge Mathis, whoever, baby, all they're going to do is order him to pay you back. And it's not a guarantee that he'll even do that. You're never getting that money back unless he wants to give you the money back. And he's all over the internet right now, flaunting money, flaunting that he got a new home, he got this, he got that. Baby, this man don't have anything to his name. And the fact that women are under his comments saying, oh, yeah, I knew you had money. Like, oh, and this one girl that I saw under his comments, and I have to see if I can find the picture. I'm going to upload it sometime in this series. And she's basically like, oh, you could swindle me the same way you did her. I know. Like, what? Are y'all slow? Do y'all really think a man that looks like that got money? Like, come on, be for real here. You're never getting the money back. For her mental health, she needs to just let this go. I'm glad she did make a TikTok and did put all this on TikTok, because now she's going to be able to get paid for her views, paid for the likes, paid for the comments. She'll get her money back probably from TikTok. I'm pretty sure with all the views that she done had by now, she'll get her money back. But girl, you're not getting it back from him. Let's keep that 100% with each other, okay? And the fact that the grandmother did not respond to her just makes me feel like the grandma didn't believe her. After she talked to her grandson, he probably told her whatever BS story, probably the same story he told us. Oh, those were gifts or whatever. And she probably believed him, which is sad because hold your children, hold the men in your home, hold the men in your family accountable. You know for a fact, like I know women do lie, but come on. If the girl's sending you all these receipts, you really think she's lying? And you know how your grandson get down. So why are you not holding him accountable? I cannot stand women that do that. When it comes to men in their family, they do not hold them accountable. It couldn't be my brother, couldn't be my uncle, it couldn't be my none of that. We don't even play that over here.
We went back and forth, and then the friend was basically saying that Mr. Million was confused on who I even was. He's asking if I had gave him cash or did I send him a cash app. And I'm thinking in my head, like, he must be thinking that I'm one of these clients out here that Mr. Million got, that he's out here helping half off bills or get approval, whatever he's out here doing. And so I text him and I said, I'm not texting about this. We can talk over the phone. I said, he's fucked over so many people. That's the reason why he doesn't know who it is. Now he's asking me to send a picture of myself, and I'm telling him I'm not doing that, and that's sad as fuck, and that should tell you how many females that he's getting over on. I was saying it's not funny because he's out here fucking with people's livelihood, and that shit's not cool. And I said I'm not trying to talk about nothing else unless it's about getting my money back. All that extra shit is a wrap. Now he's saying, I don't know how I can get you your money back if I don't know who you are and he doesn't know who you are. I said, do you think this man is honestly going to tell you the truth? And he said, yes, I knew him for years. And I'm like, well, you're sadly mistaken because he's not, but we're going to talk. And he's like, okay, we're going to talk. Like an hour and a half goes by and my sister calls me because one of her friends called her and sent her a screenshot of Mr. Million writing her looking for information on me. She was saying how she had wrote me as well, but I wasn't responding to her, so that's the only reason why she had reached out to my sister. This is what he said to her.
I don't understand how you don't know who she is, but yet you are able to find people that she knows to ask who she is and to get information on her. He knew exactly who she was once his friend told him about her hitting him up, but he just didn't want to admit that he was wrong and he raped her and he took her money. Well, she willingly gave it, but he literally used her. He didn't want to admit that. He needs to be held accountable. I don't understand why anybody is believing this man. And yes, this woman was in denial. She was acting desperate. She gave him too much, way too much. But she didn't deserve a lot of the things that happened to her. Yes, she could have stopped it a long time ago. She could have took herself out of the situation. She did not have to willingly give him money. She did not have to willingly open accounts. She did not have to willingly do anything that she did, but she did not deserve to be great. I'm going to stand on that until I can't stand no more. Unpack your thoughts in the comments, cousins. At this point of the story, would you continue to still try to get money from this man? Do you think she's ever going to get her money back? What do you think is going to happen with the investigation from the detectives? At this point, I know it takes a very long time for them to get evidence and all those things. After you do a grape kit, it takes a while for them to get back to you. But it just seems like this is just being dragged out. And for her mental health, for her to really move on and heal, she needs to stop being involved in all of these things. It's very unfortunate she had to do all of this, but I honestly do not feel like she will ever get her money back from him. And looking at the way that he looks, he can't afford to pay her back. Let's keep it real.
Texted his friend and I was like, why is he writing people asking for information on me and lying on me? And that he knew who you was asking about all along. He knows who I am. I asked what was the point of him writing people asking for information on me when all he had to do was pay his debts. The friend responded he didn't know who I was because I was writing from a fake page. I said, regardless of me writing from a fake page, he knew the situation. Now he's writing people. He definitely knows who I am. I said, I didn't write anyone saying anything but for him to pay me back. He said that he would call him later when he wasn't busy, and I said to him, me and him could still speak over the phone, but I just wanted to make sure that it was genuine with what he was doing, helping me with him. I sent him screenshots of Mr. Million saying that he was going to pay me back, the ones that I've already showed. And I said, he wants to lie and say that I broke into his apartment, but that's far from the truth. We can really talk about what happened. A couple hours later, he ended up calling me and I told him everything. I sent him the screenshots, I sent him the receipts, and he said that that nigga was wild and that he was going to talk to him and tell him to give me my money back. That next day, when the friend reached out to me, he was saying how when he spoke with him, he told him how everything that I did for him was a gift for his birthday. I said to him, you see how I sent you and showed you everything, all the receipts, and he still continues to lie. I continued to show him and send him more receipts, and the friend really believed me, and he said that he just couldn't believe that dude was out here acting like that and that he should be a man of his word and really do what he said he was going to do. We went back and forth and got off the phone. A couple hours later, I get a text message. Well, a couple text messages from Mr. Million. Oh, now my number's unblocked. This is what he says. I didn't even reply back to him. I just sent it to his friend and I said, oh, so now he's sending me threats, but yeah, he owes me. And the friend responded and said that he was about to call him and say something to him. The friend calls me and says that he said something to him about the threats, and he said that the only reason why he threatened me was because I called his grandma. I was like, are you kidding me? The grandma literally said that she was going to talk to him and tell him what he did was not right and that he should pay me back. Now he says, nah, the grandma don't believe you no more.
Cousins, I called it. Because one thing a black family will do, especially a black family, especially a grandmother, a mother, when it comes to the boys in their family, is protect rapists. That's one thing they love to do. And yes, you don't always want to go off of what someone else says, especially when you think you know someone and you raise them and you feel like they will never, ever, ever do something like that. But come on, with all the receipts that she has, be for real. Yes, she was desperate, but come on now. There's no way that y'all are protecting this man and you're just literally not believing her. Come on, grandma. You dropped the ball with that one. And I really hope the friend is being genuine, because if birds of a feather, how is he doing all of this and y'all working together? But then again, I have some friends that do things that I would never do. So I really can't fault the friend, because it seems like he is genuine. But there's just no way that nobody knows that he's out here scamming people. Come on. I could be wrong, but I feel like the friend and Mr. Million is working together. I don't know. I just have a bad feeling about this quote unquote friend. Unpack your thoughts in the comments. How do you feel about the situation? Would you be telling his friend basically all your business?
She believes him. I was like, what? He like, you know, that's her grandson. That's her baby. She has to believe him. I was like, she was just praying for me over the phone, but now she believes anything he says. And the friend said that he told her the same story, that everything that I had got him was just a gift. Then he was telling me how Mr. Million said that his profile on the Facebook dating app was a fake profile. He even said that people had been asking him if that was really him on there, and he was telling them that it wasn't. I said again, here we go with the lies. How did I get this man's phone number? Sent him the screenshot of the phone number. He's like, yeah, that's his number. I'm like, yeah. How did I get this? How did I get that? I mean, it just all makes sense. I asked him if I should be taking the threats that he made serious or lightly, and if he was really a crip or not. The friend literally laughed it off, and he was like, man, he is not like that. He told me that when he met Mr. Million, he was actually saving him from getting his car flipped by a group of people. Now, I don't know how true the story was or if he was just BSing me, but that's what he said. He said they were at a party, Mr. Million had exchanged words with people, and then next thing you know, his car was surrounded and it was being shook. So he said that he came to his defense and told them to leave him alone. And that's basically how they met and became friends.
Cousins, I believe it, because just looking at Mr. Million, you could tell he's one of those that around men, he's the one that gets beat up, that gets pushed down, and that's why he treat women that way. Yep. I'm telling you, I just don't see him being in no gang. Like, I just don't see it. He just doesn't give that. I'm sorry. He gets beat up, he gets thrown around, and he's the do boy. you do as I say. Unpack your thoughts in the comments. I'm going to come back with a part 9 as soon as I see her post something. Hopefully she posts consistently, because the dragging it out is killing me. And I know it's killing y'all too. Make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe if you have not already and you made it this far in the video. Please show your girl some love. And also, please be vigilant and vet the men that you are dating and the women. Okay? Because you can get scammed by women too. Bye.
Then I asked him, did Mr. Million ever really get shot before? And he said that he actually did. I asked him where at, and he said the bottom of his back, but basically his butt.
Not Mr. Million getting it in the booty.
He said it was just like a similar situation to when they had met, and that he had to help him and come to his rescue. He says Mr. Million gets into it with a couple of guys, calls him up, then he sends his friends to go help him, and then it ended up being a pew out, and as Mr. Million was running away, he had got hit. Then he was telling me how he had put one of his friends onto him to help him get approved for an apartment, and basically Mr. Million ran off with his money too. The excuse for that was that they exchanged words, and he told him that he just wasn't getting his money back. The friend's exact words that he kept saying about him was he was bad for business. He said that there should be a series created that's called Surviving Mr. Million. He had joked about it, but then he was like, on a serious note and from a man's perspective, that what he did was really lame. I asked him, I was like, did he tell you what he was doing when he had my phone and he was fake paying for some shit? And he said that he told him out of his mouth that he used a bank account with no money in it to pay, fake pay for the electric bill and my credit card bill. And that when he went to pay for the Progressive lease, the Best Buy lease bill, that basically he used my account, but he said, but nah, bruh, that was her credit. Like they thought he used my credit card. I told him he was sadly mistaken. That was not my credit card. It was my debit card that came out of my checking account. I asked him again if he really had said that to him, and he said that he did. I was like, that was the boldest shit that he could have done. We had went back and forth, talked about some more stuff, eventually got off the phone. That next morning, he texts me, checks on me, and I'm thinking he's trying to be cool because he feels sorry for what had happened to me, like he said to me. I was telling him how I was having the thought of just replying to Mr. Million and telling him to really fuck off with himself, and he was telling me how basically it just wasn't worth it. Out of the blue, he calls me and he says that he has spoke with Mr. Million and that he has sent him the explicit video that I did not consent to of myself showing him who I was. I was like, what the fuck? Who does shit like that? That is the weirdest shit that he could have done. He was saying that he didn't even realize what it was until he started watching it and that he had instantly deleted it. We had went back and forth, eventually got off the phone, and when we did, I texted and I asked if he could send me that video of myself. He was like, you remember I said I deleted it, but I'll try to get him to send it again. Then I had asked if he could try to recover it from his deleted camera roll, but he said that he couldn't.